Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. Good evening. I'm talking today on the topic of the devastating effects of miracle-focused gospel. I'm sorry that I'm coming a little bit late, much more later than I thought. It's so much late now, but yeah. But it's still better to have this session than not to have it at all, I suppose. So if you are set, we'll be happy to have you. Is there anybody there today? I can't see any comment yet. Is there anyone there? I can't see your comments. Either my... Oh, the comments. I guess the comments are there. Just I was not seeing them. Okay. Oh, good. Ifeanyi Nwabueze, Eric Osadolo, Mofelola Olagbeji, Niyi Olushola, Elenidos Santos, Adeleka Adeniyi, Dipo Keru. Oh, Privet Dipo. He speaks our language. Krishna, Nidesh, Rochelle White, Afolabi Victor, Deborah Cole, Olukayode Ekundayo, Shisandra, Elizabeth Aina, Emi Bobby, Shigon Wafo, Paolo Fashi, Deborah Cole, Oluwato Imbidemi, Afolabi Victor, Ogene Shukome Obabotu, Adeola Disu, Shisandra, Ojekwa Israel, Ime Epe, Anastasia McDonald, Stella Nuhu, Darlene Madu, Mufelola Olagbegi, Omonike, Vivian Taylor, Ufuoma. Okay. There are too many of you now. All right, let's go. Here we go again. So today's, I was Perez. I hope you enjoyed the session with Perez. So let me hear your opinion about Perez's session. Maybe you want to share with us what you thought about Perez and his sister's session with us. Now, they've gone to take dinner, and unfortunately, I cannot be with them right now, but, we take dinner every day anyway, so it's not a big deal. So, yeah, how was it? Dipo said, Ushiusa v Ukraine. Okay, he said he studied in Ukraine, right, okay. So I was asking about your impression about the session we just had. I'm sure some of you were there. I'm sure some of you were there in the session with Perez, right? Yeah, I think some of you were there. Okay, and Kiru said it was a bomb at 19. Wow, okay. Elizabeth Aina, Perez is so matured and speaks like a great man. Gladys was Beauty. Oh, Beauty, how are you, my sister? Blessings. For you were supposed to press the share button. Okay, for your own record. Yeah, that's for me, right? Monica, I really think that all of them are too much. Incredible. Well. Afolabi said Perez is a great leader in the making. Jide Craig, excellent children you've got there, Dr. Adelaja. You've replicated yourself. I learned quite a bit. Good job, sir. Okay. TY, it was amazing. Saw you looking so happy. Joyce, it was great. Ojela B, Perez is your replica, so full of wisdom. Adeola Disu, very blessed by Perez and his sisters. I'm inspired by his wisdom. Darlene, so much wisdom for his age. Deeper, yes, revealing, seems matured, but seems to have gone through a lot being around. Yeah. Ola Martin, the session with Perez and his sister was excellent. They touched on everything from maturity to responsibility, time management, and values. Galina, your son is very wise. It was a great time with your children. Lessons of Perez and girls were awesome. Justin, it was a great session. 19 and so much wisdom already. Onyiye, Pearl is a genius. Shiga, his wisdom is phenomenal. So we're well grounded. Some solid roots he has. Deborah, it was awesome and shows the impact of a father and leader on his narratives. Elizabeth, I know I was surprised. Oh, how I wish a lot of parents had the wisdom and grace that you had to bring up such children. Well, I've already gave you a lot of the secrets. Gladys, it was an unbelievable young man with bright future. TY, so proud of you, Dr. Adelaja. You and your wife have done exceptionally well. Your son is really very great young man. Perez, Adelaja, your generation are blessed to have you. Ufoma, Perez is already so mature for his age. Rochelle White, mind-blowing, full of wisdom, fully formed in values, ready to take on all that God has for him. Yep. Amy Bobby, I learned a lot from him tonight. Yep. Okay, Esther Kuganjan, was nice for the sisters to appreciate their brother. Lovely birthday present to him. As for Perez, he was a great teacher to me. I'm sure the youth out there will be impacted. I was so impressed by the great work you have done on your children, Pastor. Yep, well, it's time for us to do our own class. So the teaching today and the topic of the message today is the devastating effects of miracle-focused gospel. The devastating effect of miracle-focused gospel. Now, can you believe it that there is a devastating effect when a community or a church or a nation is mainly emphasizing miracles? When the church or any group of people or, a whole country, especially when a whole country is only talking about miracles. Look, I don't like that thing behind me. I'm going to change it. That is a catastrophe there. And so that is what... I'm sorry. I had to remove that thing from there because it's a new side. Yep. So it is catastrophic. It is a catastrophe when a whole culture is miracle-oriented. That is... So what are the devastating effects? What are those devastating effects of a church that is, or a community or a country that is miracle-focused? Actually, it's such a tragedy that is unbelievable. Is that when a country is now focused on miracles and is teaching the country, the old people of the country, that it is normal to live by miracles, that country will never be developed. That country will always live in lack. That country will always live in poverty. That country will never be, technologically, progress. They will never progress technologically. They will never reach industrialization. They will never, be the industrialized community. Any society that is based and that is mainly propagating, signs and wonders, miracles, instead of principles, processes, and procedures, those people are doing the greatest damage to the following generation, to the present and the future generation of that country. And I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to give you the facts. Don't believe me for it. Don't just take me for my word. I want you to know. I want you to know that you just need to listen to this. One of the greatest reasons for our underdevelopment is our over dependent and our overemphasis on miracles. When we just believe and just waiting on God to come and do everything for us, we ruin our life, we ruin our destiny, we ruin our future. So any country that is mainly focusing on miracles and on the power of God, on God to do things for them, that country is unfortunate. That country is ill-fated. That country is surrounded by tragedy. The future of that country is going to be full of pain and lack. That country is digging a hole for the next generation of children that are coming up in that country. That country is going to ruin their destiny of their children. That country is going to destroy the future of their children. That is what happens when a country is overly focused on miracles, on signs and wonders. It is one of the greatest tragedies you could ever imagine. And I cannot emphasize this enough. So what we are rejoicing about right now in Nigeria, what people are jumping up about and are saying, oh, we have miracles. Oh, we have all these churches. Oh, we have all these miracle centers. Oh, we have all these camp meetings. Oh, we have all these mountains. Oh, God is doing this miracle. Oh, God is doing that miracle. It is a graveyard. It is a graveyard for the economy of the country. It is a graveyard for the industrialization of the country. It is a graveyard for the posterity of that country. It is a graveyard. They are digging a graveyard for us when they are teaching our children and when they are teaching us all the time that the only thing we need to do and that only God can save Nigeria and that only God can do this, only God can do that. They do a misservice to us. And that is why I wrote that book, Insulted by Ungodliness. If you don't have that book yet, you need to get it. And my other book, the one I wrote before then, Only God Can Save Nigeria, What a Myth. It is when people are saying, or when churches are people that are respected. Churches are leaders. Churches are institutions that are respected in any country. When the whole country is looking up to pastors, when the whole country is looking up to clergymen, and these clergymen are telling you that only God can do it, that only God will do this and only God will do that. What they are doing is that they are burying the intellectual capacity of that country. They are ruining the intellectual capacity of the youth. They are totally destroying, incapacitating the destiny and the workforce of that nation. Oh, I cannot emphasize for you enough how many dangers, how many ruins, how many destruction come to a country that is only waiting for miracles from God. I've written a book already, Only God Can Save Nigeria, What a Myth. And people have still not taken that serious. And the other book, Insulted by Ungodliness, is right now on sale. You need everyone. That is for every country. It's for everybody from any country, Insulted by Ungodliness. And it's going to address this question. But let's talk today about because I'm talking to you now on how dangerous it is to be miracle focused, that it has devastating effect. But I want you to hear the arguments right now. I want you to hear the reasons why there is a devastating effect on a nation, on the people that are always waiting for God to do something for them. That there is a devastating effect on the destiny of that people. Let me tell you, one of the devastating effects that is there in my country, Nigeria, for example, the Christians are always complaining. The Christians are always saying that the Muslims are running our country, that the Muslims want to overtake our country. We are like crying children. We are like, little baby that is crying. The church in Nigeria is just like crying over every little thing. Oh, the Islamists are coming. Oh, the fundamentalists are coming. Oh, the Muslims want to take over the country. We are like baby, cry baby, cry baby, cry baby. Why are we crying? Why is the church in my country crying and looking so helpless before the Islamists? Why are we crying and so frightened and so much afraid of the Muslims' Islamization of Nigeria? But the fact is that the most educated people are in our churches, and we are still crying. The most aggressive youth, the most vibrant youth of Nigeria are in our churches, and there are millions. They are the most educated people in our country. They are in our churches, and yet we are still crying and afraid of Muslims. We are still crying and afraid of, and most Muslims in our country are not educated. The Christian South are much more educated. We are much more vibrant. We are much more exposed. We are much more equipped to take over our country. But because we have been indoctrinated to believe that politics is a dirty game, that politics is not for us, that we should just pray to God, that God will fix our country for us, that God will heal Nigeria, that God will save Nigeria, that only God can save Nigeria, that only God can help Nigeria, because of those kind of silly, uninformed gospel, and because of those kind of doctrine, our Christians, even the young ones that are supposed to be ambitious, that are supposed to take over the political parties, that are supposed to be at the leading force in political parties, who are supposed to be carrying the flags for a new nation, who are supposed to be spearheading national transformation. They are just all those millions of young people. They are only coming to the churches, and they are coming. They have strength, they have energy, but they are not using it. They are using it to pray to God and crying and screaming that God should come and fix the country. They are still waiting. Their fathers waited, their grandfathers waited, and they themselves are still waiting and crying to God for God to come and fix their country, because they are waiting for miracle. Miracle-focused gospel is a disastrous. It is a disastrous for the nation. I am from Yoruba, for example, the western part of Nigeria. If you look at the western part of Nigeria, there is a city there they call the city of Lagos. Now, the city of Lagos is the commercial capital of Nigeria, is the most influential capital. Almost all the politicians in that city are Muslims, or most of them. All the governors that have ever ruled for the past few years, or in that, maybe if they had 10 governors, maybe 7 or 8 of them are Muslims. They are same Yoruba people, and the Muslims are the ones who are leading the Western Nigeria, not just Western Nigeria, but the Muslims are not the majority among Yoruba people, especially in Lagos. Lagos is full of churches. Lagos is full of Christians. But if you know the gospel they are being taught, they are being taught that politics is not for them. They are being taught that God will help them. They are being taught that only God can save Nigeria. They have not been taught that the future of their country is in their hands. They have not been taught that they are the ones to go and take over the parties. They have not been taught that it is they who are supposed to build a new country and a new society. They have not been taught that if they are in the majority, they are the ones who are supposed to be in the assemblies, in the state assemblies, in the national assemblies. They are the ones who are supposed to be the governors. They are the ones who are supposed to be the council members. They have not been taught to go and compete, to go and vie for positions, to go and take dominion, to go and rule and reign for God on the earth. They have not been told that it is not God that will come down from heaven to fix their problems for them. They have not been told that they are the ones to take over and to go and pull down strongholds in their country. And you know what happens? Each time I hear people in Lagos talk, who are Christians, they always complain and say, why is it that the Muslims are the ones ruling us? Right now, the CAN in Lagos, that is the Christian Association of Nigeria, and the Christian Association of Nigeria and the PFN, the last election that they just had in Lagos, they insisted and they gave a condition to the last governor and said that we must have a Christian governor this time. You must put a Christian governor. And they got a Christian governor, but not from their local churches, not a governor that has been trained by them. This same governor, even though he was a Christian governor, but he was coming from one of the Muslim leaders. It is one of the former governors that put his protege there, that put, his mentee, that put his mentee there. The churches have not produced politicians. They have not trained young people. We are supposed to be having at least 10% of every church who are ready to go and be trained, well trained to occupy any position in the state or in the country or on any level of the country. But because they have been taught that, don't look there, politics is a dirty game, it's for the occult people, it's for the unclean people, it's for the sinners, so you just pray to God. God will somehow do something. The problem and the devastating effect of miracle-focused messages, the devastating effect of miracle-focused gospel, the devastating effect of miracle-focused gospel. I mean, in Lagos alone, there are about 5 million adults who gather together once a month or once a year or whatever. In Lagos, 5 million people in different camps, they gather together every Friday, every first Friday or second Friday or whatever Friday. Anyway, they gather every Sunday even. Every Sunday over maybe... We have 20 million, maybe 18 million people in Lagos. Maybe about 15 million or 10 million of them are Christians. Every Sunday gather together in churches, and we cannot get a governor, and we cannot get a house of assembly or state assembly that is full of Christians, and we are not in charge. Why? Because we have been taught to call on God. We have been taught that God is the one to come and save Nigeria, because we have been taught that only God could save. We have been taught that only God can help. We have been taught that God has to leave his throne to come and manage Nigeria, to come and build Nigeria. Why we will be praying in our camps? Why we will be praying in our churches? It is a devastating effect. And in Nigeria also, the Christians are just crying and weeping. Oh, where are our brother? Where is it that we are not? Where is it that Christian Muslims will come and take us? You raise up the Christians, raise them up, equip them, tutor them, raise a great number, millions, thousands of Christians who will be well equipped to take over, in every sphere of life. They will not need to cry anymore instead of us to raise up over industrialists. Everybody, like for example, I wrote articles recently about MMM and why they are bad, everything. Every day somebody is writing me some accusation, abusing me and attacking me. Oh, that the churches are not doing anything. What are they, You see, the churches are the ones supposed to raise up the industrialists. The churches are the ones that are supposed to raise up the entrepreneurs. The churches are the ones that are supposed to raise up the enterprising people. The church, that are full of people, we are the ones that are supposed to raise up the scientists, the research centers and the researchers, the people who are supposed to build the new economy, who are supposed to build a new nation for us. Now, let me give you other points. What are the devastating effects? What are the other devastating effects of miracle-centered gospel? You will know, my heart is bleeding. Because our leaders who are doing this, our leaders and our pastors, sincerely, I think they don't just see it from this angle. I think they're good men. I think most of them are not, maybe they don't intend it for evil. I think that most of them don't, they don't just see from what I'm saying. So that's why I must express myself. And that's why I must cry out aloud. And that's why I must knock on the doors, and I must let them know that I'm not against the church. I'm not against miracles. I am a miracle worker myself. I believe in miracles. My life is a miracle itself. If you go to see my book, Olorunwa is called my autobiography book. Go get that book, my autobiography. You know that my life is full of miracles. I believe in the power of God. I believe that God is able to do everything and all things, but not the things that He has told you to do. God will not come and do what you are supposed to do for you. God is not a jobless person. God is not an irresponsible person to come and be taking your responsibility upon Himself, to come and be doing for you what you are supposed to do for yourself. God is not going to come from His throne and be fixing your land that He has put you over to manage for Him and to take responsibility for. God is not going to do for you what you're supposed to do for yourself. God is not going to fix your country where He has placed you to fix for Him. God is not going to fix Nigeria, my dear. God is not going to fix that country. He's waiting on us to fix our country. He's waiting on us to raise up God-fearing men and women. He's waiting on us to raise up people who will have the pedigree, who will have what it takes to be able to put together everything that is needed to build a new nation in our land. I just don't think that our leaders, our even pastors, they meant evil. I think they've just taken it so far. But even God could not take the message of miracles so far. God is a miracle worker, but God knows when to do miracles, and God knows when to stop doing miracles. God knows when to stop doing miracles. God knows when to start doing miracles and when to stop. He started His miracles in a big way in Egypt. In Egypt, when He wanted to set His people free, when He wanted to set His people free in Egypt, He did so many miracles that you cannot believe it. He did so much miracles that has not been recorded in the old Bible. He had so many miracles in Egypt. And then when He was in the wilderness when He was taking His people through the wilderness, He was doing even more greater miracles. I mean, God is a miracle working power, but God also knows when miracle is appropriate, and God knows where miracles are not appropriate. God knew that miracle was what was needed in Egypt, and He did a lot of them and brought His people out of captivity. When people of God that needed to be delivered, when God needs to deliver a nation, when God needs to deliver a country, when God needs to deliver a people, He begins to raise up men and women who will walk into supernatural, who will use the power of God, the rod of God, and the finger of God to set forth the people and to set them free from bondage and from captivity into liberty, into freedom. That is what God demonstrated for us and to us in the book of Exodus and the book of Genesis and with the story of the children of Israel in Egypt. And then in the wilderness, when they needed help, when there was no water, when there was no food, it was a desperate situation. God came forth with His mighty arm. He came forth with His mighty finger. He came forth to manifest Himself in the wilderness, and He showed Himself mighty. But God, this mighty God, this miracle working God, this all powerful God, this God that does miracle anytime He likes, this God that can do any form of miracle you want, imaginable and unimaginable miracles. When the children of Israel came out of Egypt and they went through the wilderness, as soon as they got away from the wilderness and they got and stepped in the promised land, God knew it was time to stop all those miracles. God knew when to do miracles, and God knew when to stop miracles. And it was recorded in the book of Judges that as soon as the children of Israel enter into the promised land, when the last person entered into the promised land, the Bible records in chapter 5 of Joshua and then in chapter 12 of Judges that God sees the manna that was coming that from heaven to feed the children of Israel ceased coming down. All the big supernatural miracles that God was performing left and right, day and night, all of them ceased. He stopped all the miracles as soon as they got to the land. Now the same thing in Nigeria. That is why if God had continued doing miracles in the promised land, he would have incapacitated the children of Israel. Israel today would not have been one of the most developed countries in the world if God had continued to do miracles in the land of Israel. The Israelis would not have been the smartest people in the world today. They would not have been the most savvy people in the world today. They would not have been the most developed people in the world today. They would not have been so emancipated that they have now. They would not have become so great as they have become now, because they would have still kept on remaining and depending on God. But let me tell you something. There is really no difference between the wilderness and the promised land. The same wilderness. The promised land also was a dry place. It was also a wilderness. There is no oil flowing there. There is no raw materials there. There were no milk flowing there. There is no honey flowing there. They needed to know how and discover by themselves how to cultivate their milk. They needed to know and develop technology, how to bring about the animals that will produce milk. They needed to raise up by their own ingenuity how to come up with their own honey in the wilderness. It was the same kind of wilderness where they could not supply for themselves as long as God was doing the miracles. You remember when they were 40 years in the wilderness, they didn't have development. They didn't have growth. They didn't have technology. They didn't have any supply of anything. They did not even have their own agriculture. They did not even have their own buildings, their own houses, their own technology, their own industry. They could not develop anything. Not because it was wilderness, but because God was giving everything to them ready-made. So God knew that if he needed to help these people, he must stop the miracles. He must downplay miracles. Now that is the cry that God is sending forth to the people of Africa. That is the message for Africa today. That is the message for Nigeria today. It is high time for us to begin to downplay miracles. It is high time for us to begin to talk less about miracles, about you being able to get something for nothing. It is high time that now we will begin to teach our people about the wisdom of God, about the ability to produce, about the ability to produce goods, about the wisdom to come about the process of production, to build industries, to build farms, to build services, to come up with ingenuity inventions, to come up with things that will astound the world and be able to bring us out of our poverty. It is now time for this church in Africa to begin to teach people how to walk with their hands, how to think with their mind, how to do the same thing that God made Israel to do in the wilderness. When they settled in the land of Israel, that was not because the land was fertile. The land was not fertile. The land was not great. It's still the same wilderness. But because there was nothing coming from heaven anymore, because God is no more bringing water from the rock anymore, he's no more sending meat from heaven anymore, he forced them into a situation where they will have to turn wilderness into that place where there is honey flowing. He forced them. He put them into a situation where they have to force themselves and they have to find a technology of making milk come out, of farming products and come out of the land. They were put in that situation. And though the problem that I see with Nigeria and the problem that I see with Africa today is that we got used to the miracles. We got used to the supernatural messages. We got used to the focus on the supernatural. We got used to all the goodness of God that he performed among our people to bring them out of idolatry. Yes, our men of God performed miracles. Our men of God were anointed to do miracles. Those miracles were necessary to bring our continent out of the darkness that we were in. Those miracles were needed. They were anointed with miracles. People like Babalola, he needed to perform the miracles to break the chain and shackles of witchcraft and bondage that was holding down our people. But it is a misservice to God for the descendants of Babalola to still be carrying water, only water up and down. It is a disservice and a disgrace to God for the descendants of Babalola to still be praying for miracles from morning to night. It is a disgrace to the people who have already been delivered from bondage, who have already been delivered from witchcraft, to still be using the same method that Moses used. It would have been a disgrace for Joshua in the land of promise to begin to use the same method that Moses used in Egypt. It would have been a disgrace and a disservice to God for Joshua to still be teaching the children of Israel how to bring manna from heaven when they are already in a place of settlement. It would have been a disservice to God. Methods must change. Methods must change. It is time for the Nigerian people to know that the time for the method to change is now. We have been delivered from our Egypt. We have been brought through the wilderness of unbelief and idolatry. We have already come out of the wilderness. We have been 50 years out of our 40 years has expired. 50 years has expired as a nation. We have been delivered from unbelief. Now is a new time. It is now time that our pastors, our leaders, will begin to teach the next generation that no, it is no more time for us to begin to depend on God, to begin to ask Him for manna from above. It is no more time for us to begin to beg Him to send in water for us from the rock. It is no more time for those miracles. It is now high time for us to begin to use the mind of Christ that He has given to us. It is now high time that we do like the children of Israel, that we will begin to find technology to bring about honey in our home wilderness, that it is now time that we will begin to use the wisdom of God that is in us to bring honey and milk to in this land, for this land to flow with prosperity. It's not going to flow from heaven anymore. It's not going to flow from the rivers anymore. It's not going to flow from the stones and the mountains anymore. It's going to be flowing from our mind, from our ingenuity, from our creativity. But if we will continue to teach our people that God that's delivered them in Egypt is still going to be using that same method, that is the only method that God uses, that is God that will do this and God will do that. If that is what we are going to keep on teaching people, we keep them in captivity. We keep them in ignorance. We keep them in perpetual bondage. We keep them in moral bondage. We keep them in spiritual bondage. We keep them in ignorance. We keep them in slavery, mental slavery. We don't do any good to them by keeping them dependent on miracles perpetually. We are supposed to dismantle those miracle centers and convert them to teaching centers, to training centers, to educational centers. We are supposed to convert those mountains of prayers to mountains of retreat for ancient training mountains, personal development mountains, and scientific research centers, technological centers. We are supposed, those are the things that the churches are supposed to begin to convert themselves to. It's high time for the church to know that the gear has shifted. The cloud of fire, the cloud and the pillar of fire has moved from the camp. The camp is no more standing still. With cloud, the cloud has moved on. The pillars of fire have moved on. It's a new day. It's a new season. And this is the message that we are supposed to to be preaching to our people. But instead of that, what is happening right now is that we are still gathering people, and the more people who want to gather as many people as possible, people who are depending on us, people who are depending on our men of God, instead of us to liberate them, to give them their own freedom, to begin to think with their own head, to begin to take decisions informedly by themselves, and to begin to live by their own understanding, to begin to invent and do things progressive that will be able to bring about a new nation. We keep them still like children who need to be dependent on the parents. But the Bible says that the heir, as long as he is a child, that is not better than slaves. So in our churches today, we call them members, but really they are just children. We keep them like children. Even though we say they are heirs of God. They are, people, children of God, but they are not acting like princes of God. They are not acting like people, grown-up sons of God. They are still depending on the fathers. They are still depending on the big men. They are still depending on these miracle workers. And they are all thinking that without the prayers of those fathers, without the prayers of those miracle workers, they cannot do anything. So that way we are incapacitating them. That way we are actually making them infertile. That way we are making them impotent. That way we are actually depriving them of their energy and of their power. Oh God, how I wish this message will fall on a good ground. How I wish that people would not hate and attack for this message. How I wish that even though my passion could have been misplaced or maybe abused or step on some toes, but how I wish people will see the heart behind it and the message that is that I'm trying to communicate. I hope that our land will hear this. Unfortunately, today, the most conducive country to live in Africa is not Nigeria. It's not even South Africa. The best country in Africa is the country that just came out of civil war, out of genocide. The country of Rwanda, a few decades ago, was still erupt in brother killing brothers and in genocide. But today, they got a serious man. Rwanda had a little bit of raw materials, but it's like you could just say that they don't have raw materials compared to Nigeria. Rwanda doesn't have any raw material compared to Congo. But in Nigeria, why we're still praying? With all our raw materials, with all our resources, human material. But we have incapacitated them by making them to pray. All our millions of people, they are not producing. They are not producing. Instead of them producing, we're asking them to ask God. Why we are sending them to God to pray to God to do something to change the situation. Rwanda, that was only left with a few people, with a few millions of people, after 1 million people were slaughtered. These people got their ass together. Even though they didn't have raw materials, they don't have so much wealth like we had. But their leader taught them to build a new nation with their hands. They are not overly religious. They don't believe in God so much like we do. They are not too much in churches like we do. The number and percentage of born-again Christians there is much more lower than Nigeria. They are not too fanatical about God like we are. Mostly they are Catholics and Protestants, but they're not much like Nigeria. But they've been taught to work. And because of their ability to work, they have been able, in a short 30-year span or something, they've been able to build a country that is an envy. The envy of the world right now. I was in Rwanda myself. It's the country that I would have liked to live. It's the country I would have liked to go. They call it in African Switzerland right now because people were just taught simple things. Work, diligence, work, hard work, hard work and diligence. Only two things. Hard work and diligence, hard work and diligence. And those people, few in number, but they have been able to produce a country that is the best country to live now in African continent. Even me, I would have moved there if God is not saying I should go to Nigeria. But instead of us to teach values to our people, instead of us to teach principles that can bring about development to our people, we keep on telling them to call on God. We keep on telling them only God can save Nigeria. We keep on telling them that only God can help Nigeria, that without God we can do nothing. We keep on keeping them incapacitated in churches. We keep them depending on churches, depending on pastors, and them feeling so inferior that they can do nothing. I am so sorry for my emotions, guys. I'm so sorry for my emotions. This is my heart right now. This is just, I know the answer. I know the key to develop that continent and that country, in particular Nigeria, where I come from. I know what it takes. I know what we could do to do it. But the truth must come out first. Somebody must say these things. Somebody must share this message. Somebody must let people know. Because right now, we are just just at the verge of the new year. If you see what is happening in my country, everybody is somewhere in some mountain or the other, or in some camp or the other, and not being trained in how to develop the country, not being trained in the acts of technology, not being trained in research, not being trained in how to do, to come about product, to produce products and to produce services, not being trained in values or virtues. But people are being trained to just pray and wait on God and not to sin and not to fornicate and not to do that, which is okay. But how many times would they be told the same thing? They've already been told those things. They know those things. They shouldn't smoke. They shouldn't drink. They shouldn't sin or have sex. They know that. That's just what is being repeated to them every day. When would the nation develop? Who will build the industries? Who will build the dams? Who will build the technologies? Who will build the bridges? Who will build the trains, the planes, the cars? Who will do that when only about a few percentage of people are engaged in these things? All the rest of the people are in mosques and churches praying and whining away their time and life. And that's why I think that we should all go and share this message. It's a pity that you people are not sharing it. Only about 1/4 of the people are sharing it. Yeah, I've shared the message. Let's go ahead and feel free to share the message. But write something on it when you are sharing it. Write some remarks. Let people know what you're thinking. Don't just share it and without writing anything. Write something as you are sharing it, and let the word go around. Let the word spread. Let everybody, as many people in Nigeria or outside of Nigeria, let them hear this message. Maybe this message is not just for Nigerians. Let all of us have the liberty to go share it. You see the share button under your video. Just go ahead and share it. Somebody has shared it twice, thrice, but still, despite all the people who have shared it 2-3 times, only 1/4 has shared it altogether. So it means that all other people are not sharing it. But I think that's the least we could do, to share the message and send it to people in their inboxes and everywhere. And, let's do something. But, you see, I've not even started making my points. I have the devastating effects of miracle focus message, gospel. I have how many points here? I have 35 points here. I've not even started one point. I couldn't even start the points. I have to start the points tomorrow. I've got to start the points tomorrow with the devastating effects. I have 35 of them. It will take me like 4 days, 3 days, maybe 3 days to be able to finish this message alone. If I'm preaching morning and evening. My God. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just so overwhelmed by these things. I'm telling you, I'm so burdened by it. Because I know that there's no amount of help that I could bring or anybody could bring if we don't change our mind. If we don't change our mindset, if we don't change our belief system, as a man thinketh in his mind, so he is. As a man thinketh in his heart, as a man thinketh. If we are going to keep on thinking the same way, the way we've been thinking so far, if we are going to keep on thinking that way, we will remain the same. So if we are going to keep on thinking like we are still in Egypt, we will just remain we will still be with slave mentality like that, like those Israelites in Egypt as well. If we will keep on thinking like, we are still in the wilderness, we will still be acting like people in the wilderness. We will still be waiting on manna to come from above, to come from heaven. We will still keep on expecting some men of God to do things for us. In the wilderness, everybody was expecting Moses to come and do the miracles. In Egypt, everybody was expecting Moses to come and do miracles, but in the promised land, there was nothing like that. In the promised land, it is prohibited for people to just all be waiting around. No, every household had their own piece of the earth. Every household had their own piece of the promised land that they had to develop. Nobody is going to Joshua for miracles anymore. Nobody is asking Joshua to pray for God to provide anything for them anymore. Each household was responsible for a piece of the earth that they have to develop. It is high time for our churches to begin to teach our people not to keep on depending on the men of God anymore. Not to begin. It's time for pastors to begin to say, don't look up to me again. Or go and discover something. Go and invent something. Go and do some research. Go and do self-education, self-development. Go and let's take responsibility for this particular problem. Let's resolve this problem. Let's use our wisdom. Let's use our mind. Let's use, the capacity that God has given unto us. Let us take control of the transport system and renew it. Let us take control of the computer system and renew it. Let us take control. Maybe some church will take control of the educational system and say, we are going to fix the educational system in Nigeria. Maybe one church or one denomination will take control of the technology, of the industry of technology and the area of intech, and will say, we are going to develop the technology in Nigeria. Do you know that in my country, Nigeria, the latest information I heard is this, that all the churches together, about 5 top churches in Nigeria, 5 to 10 top churches in Nigeria, they have more money than the federal government of Nigeria. That the money that is in the account, just lying there in the account, not even being used, those are just the ones lying in the account of top 10 churches in Nigeria. The top 10 churches have more than all the foreign reserves of the federal government of Nigeria. Only 10 churches in Nigeria. And those 10 churches, they are not even touching the money. Some of them are touching it, using it to do business and doing unbelievers are the ones using some of their money. And then the government, right now, Nigeria wants to borrow $30 billion. And they discover that $30 billion, the money that is more than $30 billion is in the account of some churches. And these few churches can even loan or lend the whole federal government of Nigeria that old money. The money that is needed to the economy to be revamped. The money that is needed for children not to die. The money that is needed for children to go to school. The money that is needed for mothers to be able to send their children to school. The money that is needed for people not to die of malnutrition. The money that is needed for maternal and any kind of death to stop. They are lying the accounts of churches just lying and interest just coming on top of it, and the federal government cannot even get anybody to lend them this money, and our churches are shut down, and the members of these churches are poor. The members of these churches can't go to school. The members of these churches cannot eat 3 square meals, and they have billions in their accounts. But okay, let them keep their money. We don't want their money, but let them teach the people. Let them empower the people. Every Sunday in Nigeria, we have about 50 billion people, minimum, conservative reserve. 50 million people. 50 million people come and sit down in pews. 50 million people every Sunday, day in, day out. 50 million people. Can you imagine if 50 million people get the right information? Can you imagine if 50 million people are mobilized? Can you imagine if 50 million people are taught about diligence? Can you imagine if 50 million people are taught about hard work? Can you imagine if 50 million people are taught about conversion? Can you imagine if 50 million people are told that they should depend on themselves, on their hard work, not depend on God? Can you imagine if the 50 million people are being told every Sunday that God has already done everything? God has already given us our eyes. God has given us our hands. God has given us sun. He has given us oxygen. He has given us air, fresh air. He has given us wonderful weather. He has given us, forests. He has given us, raw materials. He has given us everything. We are not waiting. We shouldn't be waiting on God anymore. God has already done everything. God has already done his own part. We shouldn't be waiting for him anymore to come and do it for us again. He's done everything. He's already given us everything that we need for life. For life and godliness. He's already given us everything that we need for life and godliness. He has given us everything that we need for life and godliness. We shouldn't be going to put the blame on him as if he's the one to blame. We shouldn't be going to God and telling him that he's the one that is not developing our countries and that's why we are behind. We shouldn't be going to tell God as if that he's the one that is not doing what he's supposed to do and that's why we are in economic recession. We shouldn't put our own responsibilities on him. It is no more his responsibility. It is now our responsibility, my dear. Will anybody hear this? Who will hear this cry? Who will hear this cry, my God? That we can fix our nation. We can fix our nation. We can fix our nation. But we should not keep our people in the wilderness. We shouldn't keep them in bondage to ignorance and to religiosity and to unnecessary expectations, constant expectation from God. We should teach them to go and make things work for themselves. We should teach them to go and work with their own hands. We should teach them to come and cultivate their own land. When God gave us the book of Genesis, he took the Adam that he created, the man that he created, and took him to the Garden of Eden and told him to till the ground. That is the first obligation every human being, the first thing every church is supposed to be doing, is to teach their members to do the same thing God taught Adam and Eve to do in the Garden of Eden. The first thing they needed to do before anything else is to learn to till the ground, to cultivate the ground, to develop their ground. Every pastor, every teacher, every church is supposed to be busy from morning till night, teaching their members how to cultivate their own ground, how to discover their territory, how to discover their land, and how to cultivate the land, how to get their land cultivated, developed, and how to till that ground, and how to keep that ground, and how to make that ground productive. And the interesting thing is that God gave them this instruction to, first of all, get the promised land that they are going to take responsibility for, that they are going to till and develop and cultivate before he even made them husband and wife. He first of all gave them an occupation. He first of all gave them a responsibility. He first of all taught them to work and bring about productivity. He first of all emphasized productivity. He first of all emphasized the process of production of goods and services before he emphasized religiosity, and before he emphasized even family, before he emphasized husband and wife and all the things that we are talking about. It is time for us to use that example as a country to begin to teach our churches and our people that the ability to cultivate the ground is paramount, and that we are the ones to cultivate the ground. If God had intended that he was the one to save a country, or he was the one to develop a country, or he was the one to make a country be economically vibrant, he would have done that by himself in the Garden of Eden. But God himself did not come to till the ground in the Garden of Eden. God did not take that responsibility upon himself. He did not remove that responsibility from Adam and Eve. He stayed back. He made them to take that responsibility. And God didn't come to disturb them or distract them from working. God didn't come and sit down with them and say, let us pray only. If you are in the Garden of Eden now, why should you walk in the Garden of Eden? Let's just pray from morning to night. No, God did not make them to pray from morning to night. God did not make them to pray and fast every day of the week. God did not make them to come to church every day of the week, or to go and be saying there every day of every hour, every day, everything, and be wasting their time away. No, God allowed them to work. God allowed them to cultivate the ground. So God stood by. God will not come to disturb them in the Garden of Eden until the cool of the day. Only during the cool of the day, God will come and show up. So only in the evening, after the day walk, they do religiosity. So religiosity and religious fellowship with God, not even religiosity, I would call it intimate relationship with God. There was a time for it. So they had a time of intimate relationship with God during the cool of the day. When God has seen that they have finished the day work, then God comes into the garden to fellowship with them. And they were having personal, intimate relationship with God. Then when God finishes fellowship with God, he goes away and doesn't touch them again. No, he doesn't come and distract them from their work. He let them do their work. He let them name the animals. He let them till the ground. And then he goes, when they finish the hard work and the work of the day, he comes to refreshing them through his personal relationship. He comes to empower them. That's what the church is supposed to be doing. That once a week or twice a week maximum. That's how much people are supposed to be in church. But the other time, they should be released. They should be pushed out of church to go and cultivate their ground, to go and till the ground, to go and cultivate the ground, to go and develop their territory, to go and take responsibility for their land, to go and form industries, to go and develop commerce, to go and do enterprises, to go and build structures and be able to do everything that they need to do to bring about development in their land. That is what they are supposed to be doing from morning to night. Then when they finish doing that, God comes. They go to God and get refreshed in his presence and get new energy for a new day and get new presence, new refreshment for a new day. That is what is the way it's supposed to be. Not be manipulating people to stay in churches every day and to be coming to church. So when they're coming to church every day, when would they develop their territory? When would they have time to be able to develop their land? When would they have time to be able to cultivate? When would they have time to be able to till the ground? When would they have time to be able to give glory to God by the things that they form, by the things that they come up with, by their investments, by their inventions, by their creativity, by their ingenuity? When would they be able to do that? They will never be able to do that when they are busy in the church from Monday to Sunday. We have abused the church. We have abused the name of God. We have abused the message of the gospel. We have abused the gospel of the kingdom. We have abused the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, either because of our ignorance, because we just don't know better, or because of greed, maybe. I don't know what is responsible for our country that has become like this, but we must now hear the truth, and we must all repent. We must change our ways, and we must begin to do church in a different way. And it's not just the pastors that are to blame. All members who are getting under this deception, all members who are going to look for miracles, all members, they are also greedy people. They want to get something for nothing. They want to reap where they have not sown. They want to get quick fix. They want to get quick answer. The members also are to blame. It is greed. It is greed to be be asking God to come and do for you what you have not qualified for, to give you and bless you and give you promotion and give you blessing and give you prosperity where you have not done enough to qualify for it. So we are all to blame. We are all culprits in this, and we all need to repent so that God will have mercy on us and cause us to be able to see the Bible differently and begin to see the gospel in a new way, in a fresh way, so that we will begin to do our best. Then the God will see that we have done our best, then he will come and heal our land. But before he heals our land, we have to take responsibility for our land. Before he heals our land, we have to come and begin to till our land first. Before he could heal our land, we have to do what we need to do. We have to cultivate our land. We have to till our land. We have to keep our land. We have to do our own part. We have to carry out the responsibility that he asked us to do, just like he had Adam and Eve to do in the Garden of Eden. We have to make sure that we have done our part. Then he will come and help us and heal our land. I'm so sorry for being so emotional today. And like I said, not too many of us are sharing this message. It's a pity that less than 100 people have shared the message. Less than 80 people actually have shared the message. But I think we should all share this message and spread it as much as possible. Maybe we need to send it as a letter or as a WhatsApp message, or as I don't know what we need to do. We need to put it in inbox for people, or we'll get the link and send to people, or we need to take the link to WhatsApp or send to everybody. I don't know what we need to do, but we must spread this word. Nigeria and Africa must hear this word, and something has to be done. I've done my part. I've released the word. I've preached the word, and I hope that all of us will do our part and take over the word and begin to do something, and begin to do something that we could do, at least to spread the word, at least for the word to go out there and reach all the people that might be in need of it. Again, sorry for anybody that might have been offended by my passion today. I tried to control that passion, but today was just, beyond me. It was beyond me today. Even though I was busy today myself, I've been busy from morning, but this message is just I can't just help it. And like I said, I have 35 points, so I'm going to be talking about it morning and evening every day. I will start tomorrow morning. Today was just introductory. And then I will start tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow evening, and every day till the new year. This is what I'm going to be preaching about till the 1st. And then we'll see from there. If anything, then I will continue. If I need to continue it even after the new year, then I have to continue. We must preach this message until the church in Nigeria hears, and until the whole country hears it, and the whole continent of Africa hears it. Thank you so much. Sorry again for my passion and emotions, okay? I couldn't control it today. Sorry. But I'm not going to be reading comments now. I'm going to see if my children are not asleep yet, and my wife, so that I could, go and congratulate parents. Because maybe, I'm sure they have finished their dinner, but maybe they are still sitting around. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you tomorrow morning. God bless. Sorry, I'm sure you people understood that today I came out 1 hour late. This is not our normal schedule today. If you are here for the first time and you don't know the normal schedule, please go ahead and look on my page. On my page, you will see this normal schedule. And maybe even here, you could see the normal schedule here. So, I'm going to come out at the normal time tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening. And, so only today, because today was Perez's birthday. That's why it took so much time today. But thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless. Bye.